And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
What if I don't want to step out of my office? So there's no jumping. Because I think there's actually an achievement for that, isn't there, as well? Something about you can't jump or something.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay. Turn everybody's computers off. Can't open doors.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Do I have to follow the instructions? What if I want to go right?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, why not? Maybe we can get a cup of coffee while we're on the way. Alright. You want some coffee? Can I just simply not open any of these things?
Ah, yes. Truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Can't jump. Achievement unlocked. Yes, I know. Let's just stand here and take it all in.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible this is why everyone left.
Oh, yes. Yeah, nobody else loves the employee break room apart from Stanley.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Oh, that's quality. Also, my camera's out of focus. Where's my camera out of focus? Maybe because I moved it the other day. That's better. There we go. Excellent. Much better. I think. I don't know. Maybe. Yes, no, maybe. Alright then. I guess there is no more dialogue coming though this time. Alright. So let's go out of the room then.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
I don't want to go to the first door on my left.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
If you're lying, do not lie. If you're lying right now, stop. Okay. I don't know, maybe we can't open doors in the game, I don't know. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. Penalty for misuse of the cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story
Can I
is
jump
about
off?
nothing but you all this time. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Danger is everywhere. Alright, so let's go this way. We are completely off the beaten track right now, I think. 2B1. To be 3. Maybe we'll see one that says to be or not to be.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Should we continue to disobey? I think we should.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
No, I will walk through the blue door.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Sorry, I'm colourblind. I didn't see no red door. Is this the red door?
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms,
The dev textures.
Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles,
I wanted to jump. I wanted to jump.
Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version.
Oh, definitely a 5.
The game benefited from allowing you more choices. Feel free to be honest. Looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul.
In his soul.
Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Okay, so...
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Healthy competition is always good.
A prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now
Hey, Aaron.
a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing.
Okay.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Sure.
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Oh, this game is already very, very funny.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes.
Oh dear. Is there really something that you have to like do? This is probably like a hidden achievement or something. Press the button for 4 hours. Should we just let the baby walk into the fire? I mean, we've made bad choices and not listened all the way through up to this point.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience.
Yeah, I have a great deal of patience, but I'm not sitting there for 4 hours pushing that button. Because looking at how obscure the achievements are, that would probably be a thing, to let you sit there for 4 hours and push that button.
I'm not even going to try. I'm out.
Maybe that's maybe this is the answer. Maybe this is the answer to front page fodder. People need to make this map. They seem to have a great interest in pushing buttons, walking around, pushing buttons. Just put this in front of them. 4 hours. Happy days. Keep them distracted for 4 hours while we upvote the actual decent maps.
I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
No, it's not enough. I can't jump.
I'm making things for you.
Just want to prove a point here, Deathwish. For years I've been saying my spacebar key doesn't work. Doesn't work. Can't jump. Told you. Wasn't lying all this time.
I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel
it's lovely.
ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience.
Yeah, can I go
Step
in?
inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand?
Oh, it's lovely.
It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Thank you.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Nope.
Oh,
I can't see
no.
nothing.
This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Maybe we'll move on to front page fodder on Portal right now. Excuse me.
Yes, I don't even know what this game is, but I love it.
Hey, Indifferential, what's going on, buddy?
You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is. Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these.
No!
Things, and I highly doubt your...
Stanley Parable Alpha Test. So what's this? Is this like... Is this like some reputation of Portal being destroyed or something? I don't know. I can't see anything. Where am I? I don't know where I am. It's really hard to see because of my great monitor that's so shiny. I can't see anything. Have we... I think we've really annoyed him this time. It's 423. Oh. There's light. At the end of the tunnel. What's that? Interesting. .423. It's our room. He's using Sony Vegas. Almost looks a bit like Vegas. What am I meant to be doing? I have no idea. Maybe if we just like stand here, maybe he'll tell us what to do. They would just stand here and protest with our arms folded like this. Nothing? Okay. Alright, so, let's try and find...
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then
I should really have subtitles on as well.
I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Okay. This is a weird experience. I'd say, actually, yeah, really weird. Very weird. We finished, haven't we? I think that's like the end.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
That's interesting. How come I can...
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. Praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
So we actually have to restart the game. Okay. So let's try the other option. Just cause.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
What?
he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked,
I can't get on here.
he couldn't find a trace of his
Oh, there we go.
co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like right now. You could have done this then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
All right.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Is he just going to play like an instrumental tune for us now? Or are we just going to sit here for a little bit longer? Let's just, you know, relax for a bit and just chill with the music like this. Does this seriously just go on forever or what? Jeez. Alright, let's start the game again. Excuse me. Alright, let's follow his instructions this time, I guess.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's go to the meeting room, shall we?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, can't go to the executive bathroom.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the
About
boss
20 odd
assigned
minutes.
An extra secret PIN number, 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Nothing over here. We'll go down then. It's quite an interesting game, for sure.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Rome.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
It was nice knowing you guys.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Okay. Yeah.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, guys.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
That was great. Oh dear, that was great. A narrator of a narrator.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
This is quite cool. It's almost like the bits in Antechamber where you get to see like some of the dev stuff. Very cool indeed. Playing solitaire. The office. Maintenance room. Photocopiers. This is awesome. Countdown room. I ain't been to no countdown room.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you
Nope,
see
can't see a
how
thing.
much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop
all right.
now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time.
Is that really it this time? Do I need to restart? Is it just going to stay here now forever? I don't know. This game is so bizarre. This game is just... I guess we just... Well, I guess we was told, right? I guess we was. Let's start again then, shall we?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Input received. That's a new one. I hate Mondays. Don't we all? Oh, did I?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
All right, we will follow the instructions this time. We will follow the instructions.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase,
We can always go downstairs.
to his boss's
God, there must be so many different like permutations of this game and like so many different things you can do. It's crazy.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
But I don't want to listen to music. I don't want to listen to music. I want to go. Come on.
Soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Alright, so. We've got to take the mind control thing, right, this time? That's what we're going to do. Interesting that that cut out this time.
Through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Where the red lights went.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the
Oh.
number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly...
One of the tops says pirate. I just noticed that as I was coming up here.
blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content.
What is
or
this, Inside Out?
eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
So what do the buttons do? Do you have to push them in the right order? Do we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know. 3. 4 is up there. It's so hard to see. Walking around, pushing buttons. Great Valve games. Alright, well. I did nothing.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this.
Is that it?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Probably not.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking.
Are you for real? The steps down? Oh, come on.
Understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Ah, Stanley was happy. Achievement unlocked. Beat the game. It's actually a really short game, but I think because of all the permutations and different things you can do. Now, I know there is an achievement to like speedrun the game. Should we maybe just see if we can speedrun the game?
Decided to go to the meeting. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Stanley pushes some buttons. Passageway. Kills the breeze.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Just when you think you know everything that's going to happen, the game throws a new surprise in at you. Quality.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now,
I'd seen an achievement which is like complete the game in like 4 minutes and something, so I'm just like literally running through it just to see if I can get it.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
That's why I'm just like literally running as fast as I can through this.
Mind control facility. It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Oh, really?
Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason?
So I need to restart then. Hey, Sneak, what's going on, buddy? Welcome along to stream. Hope you're well.
To accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
So I need to change something at the start before...
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad.
It's a bit low.
Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machine...
You didn't tell me, guys.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. And freedom was mere moments
Is that better?
away.
Hopefully that's better.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin.
Alright, so let's try one of the other permutations this time then.
Immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly
I guess the more times you do stuff, the more you get like those sort of moments where we walked into the boss's office, perhaps.
And Stanley was happy.
You do it pretty quickly though. To get from start to finish. Oh, hello. Something is
All of his
different.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Yeah, we've already been this way,
Stop
Treasure
by
Ghost,
the
actually.
employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow.
And we sat here for like ages admiring
This
the room.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Nope, we're going to go down. You need to take the lift all the way across. Yeah, I know, I've still not done that one yet. I know that,
But
Deathwish.
Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Can't I go right? Okay.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right, my mistake.
Shut the door on me, go
No,
on.
not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right, Yep. Okay. Yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay. Are you sure? Sound like some cheat code for like Super Mario Bros. Or something.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
Oh dear, this is great. Oh hello, I got different. Back to this
All of his
starting
coworkers
area.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
All right. So let's go right again.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I definitely restarted the game.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Okay. Oh shit, it's a maze. Well, that loops back round. That's fine. I can comprehend that. Isn't this the... Wait a second. Isn't this the map that Batcat made? Or something similar?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll
I missed the message.
by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Alright, so we're going to start again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Surely the
Perhaps
computers
he
have got to be
simply missed the
something.
memo.
Surely. See, that one's not on this time. That one was on before, when I pressed that button. And I got no doors.
It's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay. Well, that door wasn't open before.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness. This is some anti-chamber stuff going on right here.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
I do.
You know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all.
I did see your message I left, by the way. You're still on vacation, so that's fine. Thank you very much just for being in the chat and listening.
Situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
We're not restarting though, are we? It's going to be another twist. Another turn. The
All
Stanley
right,
Parable.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Well, this is a different line. Let's follow the line. It's Bronze Solitaire.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination
Can't walk on the wall.
still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being by the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Oh dear. I'm not following the line, I'm such a rebel!
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay. I've forgotten it already.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Okay.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh, I am loving this. This is genius. Pure
You know
genius.
what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Okay, let's go. Let's go, Mr. Narrator.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Back at the beginning. I bet. Back in the beginning. Go on.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
But I want to go that way. I want to follow the line.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So
I'm lost.
starting from the
You-
right,
you've lost me,
let's
narrator.
ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's a just ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say?
I like how
about
both
this?
doors would have even led to here anyway.
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree?
But it's
I'm not
different.
quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could
I
it
am
mean?
so confused.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Are we still on the confusion timeline? I don't know. I don't know the doors.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room but eager to get back to business? Stanley took the first open door on his
Gotta go
left.
straight across.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Alright, so let's take the lift across this time.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Her?
She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to...
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. Oh.
Can't move.
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife? Who
Mrs.
wanted
Knock.
to give their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This
Hey,
is a very
Mrs. Knock.
sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic
What happens if we don't press the button?
adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
I don't want to press it. I don't want to press it. I'm not going to press it. I'm just going to sit here with my arms folded, just like this. I don't want to press any button. No. I'm a swan. I'm a swan. I'm a paper swan, I don't know.
And so he began to fantasize about his
I can't
own
sit here for
work.
much longer.
First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly
Stanley
vanished
detected.
off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations.
The narrator's making out that he's... We're talking to ourselves in the whole game.
And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
But then when I don't press anything, nothing happens. How long am I supposed to wait for? I don't know.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, Maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I
Did I die? Wasn't that one of the endings? Does this save progress, or do I have to like keep going until I actually finish?
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
Walking around in circles.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
Oh, this is great. I love this. The dialogue is so funny.
Thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Then she turned and ran. Oh, jeez. All right, guys. Well, we're going to have to leave it there for today. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow because I've thoroughly enjoyed playing this game. It is very, very funny. I find it very hilarious and I'm enjoying it very much, guys. Hope you are as well. Please check out the links on the screen if you haven't already. I'll be back tomorrow. Continue this. I shall also be around on YouTube later on tonight to carry on with episode 2 of The Walking Dead. So come and say hi over on YouTube if you are around. Until next time, I've been NOCK. You've been awesome. Happy gaming.